Hello, Dharma friends. It's been a while, so I'm very happy to be able to see all of you. Would you please put your hands together and join me in Gasho? I'm going to share with you now perhaps the most important aspect of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. This is the 18th vow, or primal vow, or promise, if you will, of Amida Buddha, the Buddha of immeasurable life and infinite light. And the Buddha says, if, when I attain Buddhahood, the sentient beings of the 10 quarters, with sincere mind and trusting themselves, aspiring to be born in my land and saying my name, should not be born there, may I not attain the supreme enlightenment. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandals, 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 Namandals. Thank you very much. Hopefully that's not the first time you have heard of the primal vow. For those who may not be familiar with it, the vow or promise was made by Bodhisattva Dharmakara in the beginningless beginning, long time ago. And this Bodhisattva was seeking enlightenment, but would only attain enlightenment if everyone else, all the sentient beings throughout the universe, could be enlightened along with the Bodhisattva. So we know that this Bodhisattva did attain enlightenment. We now refer to Bodhisattva Dharmakara as Amida Buddha, and that is the object in our shrine here over my shoulder, and which says that, that promise has been fulfilled because sentient beings throughout the universe saying the name results in this Buddha's enlightenment. So that is central to Jodo Shinshu teachings. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in just a moment. But first, I kind of want to share with you an experience I had a couple of weeks ago, and then relate it to, something that I think that we all can understand. So a couple of weeks ago, I was invited to go on a very special tour of another worship place for a different religious tradition. And let's just say this religious tradition follows the New Testament of the Christian Bible. And the tour itself was amazing. It was beautiful. And there was a nice man who was leading us through the different worship spaces and explaining their religious tradition. And at one point, though, he stopped the group and he looked at all of us and, without knowing us or where we're from or who we are, I wasn't wearing this, I had not identified myself, as a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist. He began to speak about the Bible, and he looked at the group and said, so when you hear this, what comes next? And this is what he said. He simply said, ask. So he said that word, ask. And what was interesting was, I think the entire group, except for me, responded with, and you shall receive. They said it with conviction. Obviously, they were familiar with this particular Bible passage, which I believe comes from the book of John. And for me, the reason why I didn't respond is I truly could not remember that. But once people did respond, I go, oh yeah, I heard that a long time ago in my youth. And so it speaks to, asking for something from, God. And if it's within God's will, you shall receive it. So, I thought about that there in that moment about asking and receiving something, and my mind began to wander a little bit more. And I started thinking about the whole idea of asking for something. So here we are, first weekend in November. For many people, November kicks off the holiday season. We start thinking about Thanksgiving, and then what's the day after Thanksgiving? It's Black Friday, when retailers look to make a lot of sales, and therefore their budget will be in the black, so they're in a good spot. They'll end their year on the plus side of profit. And, of course, all this leads up to, primarily the Christian holiday of Christmas, but there's other holidays in December too. But it's really the season of, gift giving. And I was thinking about back when I was a kid, when I would ask my parents for something, whether, it was for Christmas or if it was, for a birthday or just some kind of occasion, just at random, right? Depending on what I was asking for, you might get, three different answers. So you might get a yes, which, that's the best case scenario. You might get a flat out no, that's just not going to happen, but, at least you know. But I think the worst answer to get, is probably actually maybe. And, a sister that is, we'll see. Because, as a kid, you usually figure out like, well, that probably means no. And then, as a kid, you think, well, I'm smart, maybe I can negotiate with my parents. So, you start to think, what can I do? What can I do? And you might go, hey, you know what? I will start taking out the trash without you having to remind me that that's my chore. I'll just do that all the time. Or I'll go out and rake the leaves in the yard, because winter's approaching and they're starting to fall off the trees and making a mess. I'll just go do that for you, or maybe, something that's a little more, what should I say, something you should just do anyways. Like, I'll stop picking on my little sister. I'll be nicer to my little sister, those sorts of things. You start to bargain and calculate, what would it take to change that maybe or we'll see into, more like a yes. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So, as a kid, we try to figure out how can we manipulate the situation in our favor, so that we, get what we're asking for. So we'll receive, that gift, whatever it is. So, I had those thoughts going through my mind after I had that experience at this worship space. And then it kind of took me back to thinking about, some differences between, I'm just going to say Christianity and Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. And the primary difference, I think, is that, for folks who follow the Bible, many times they have to ask for things. They have to ask for something to be within God's will for it to happen. And that can even take it to the ultimate, desire of what happens after this life, asking God to forgive you, asking God to save you, asking God for whatever, peace of mind, whatever it is, so that, you may be found worthy and enter into, the kingdom of heaven, as I believe the Christians would say. And as I reflected on that thought, I started to feel this sense of gratitude for our faith tradition, because there's nothing for us to ask. The vow I shared with you at the very beginning of this message, the promise of Amida Buddha, is that the Buddha will not attain enlightenment unless all other sentient beings who say the Buddha's name can also be enlightened. And saying that name with a sincere heart, knowing that all you got to do is just take, accept, receive the compassion of Amida Buddha. But there's no asking. There's no like, Buddha, please save me. Buddha, please let me be born in your Pure Land. Buddha, please help me be a better person so that I can be worthy and when I die, be born in the Pure Land and become a Buddha myself. There's no asking. The Buddha simply says, for those aspiring to be born in my land with a sincere heart, meaning that you recognize that the Buddha's compassion is coming to you. All you have to do is realize like it's coming and put out your hands and accept it, You just realize that and you'll become a Buddha yourself. That is what the primal vow is all about. So there is no asking, receiving. It's just receiving. And when you come to understand that, you cannot help but respond through a spontaneous act of gratitude. And that act of gratitude is Namo Amida Butsu. It sounds incredibly simple, and it is on the surface. The challenging part, though, is accepting that in your heart, knowing this in your heart, and having a sincere mind, knowing that despite how you are as a human being, the fact that you may make mistakes and you're not going to be perfect, you don't need to worry. You hold that in your heart, and you will be born in the Pure Land. That's the gift. that you receive from Amida Buddha. So anyway, appreciate you all listening. If you are thinking about hitting the stores the day after Thanksgiving, I wish you the best of luck. May you find those bargains. And just remember, though, even though you may have to negotiate to get the best price possible, or if you're a kid watching this and you may be begging your parents, to get a certain special gift for the holidays, just remember, you don't need to do any of that with Amida Buddha. So appreciate you listening. I hope you all have a wonderful November. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. And I look forward to seeing you all in person really soon. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together in Gasho, and together we'll recite the Nembutsu, the name of Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namandats, 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 namandats. Bye, everybody. Take care.